Hey everybody, so I'm here in my living room ready to talk about some changes that I've been making over the past year and that I think have really helped me to grow and to learn more about who I am, which sounds really cheesy, but trust me, it's one of the best things growing and learning about who you are that you can possibly do. Especially if you're somebody that tends to worry about the future or just you're anxious or nervous or any sort of emotion that isn't positivity. So this video is going to be about my journey in social media and why I have joined it, why I quit it, and what's gonna happen from here. We go way back to like MySpace era. That was I feel like 6th grade, like you were supposed to be 14 or something, or maybe that was Facebook. But I joined when I was probably 12, too young. I just liked it because you got to have a cool background, a picture, some music. Wasn't really that active, especially when it was like your top 5 friends and then these other people. I'm like, that's rude. Like, everybody's your friend. You don't have top 5. Then Facebook came along. I believe I wasn't 14. I was like really close, probably 13. Joined that, and I've had it up until now. And I still have it. ... I only joined, not counting YouTube, Twitter and Instagram as well. And I'm going to count Snapchat into this as well because it definitely is a huge part of social media. So Twitter, let's start there. I had that, I think, for maybe a year or two because my brother was on it, and I don't know, he was just getting to interact with celebrities and people, and they would retweet and respond, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And getting to, if you have people that you really inspire you and you want to follow them every day to see what they're doing, it can be a great thing. So I deactivated my Twitter, and Snapchat I completely deleted as of last week. I wasn't really using it, especially because I had to be hooked up to a mobile data connection anyway to use it, and then I would respond too late, and I don't know, it was just okay. So Snapchat and Twitter are gone, and Instagram. On this list in front of me, I have approximately 9 reasons. Number 1, I do not want to be known for an @ symbol or a hashtag or something that is completely irrelevant. People, when they see stuff that you post on Facebook, it's just, they do make judgments and they can't help it, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. I know I've done the same thing, but I would rather that people get to know me in person, and I feel like there are much fewer misunderstandings in person and things can be said much more clearly. As all of you know, a text message can be totally misinterpreted, can result in hostility that did not need to be there between friends, or just confusion. So I want to be known for statements that I make versus something that I write that can be misconstrued. You are who you are, you're an individual, and how you portray that is totally up to you, and that's the whole point of this video. Number 2, second reason, is I found that I was constantly comparing myself to people, especially maybe on the weekends, like they're out and here they are in this bar or this party, and maybe you went home or you were doing something completely fun on your own, but then you see what they did and you still feel like you were missing out. And I don't want to feel like I'm missing out. I want to make decisions about what I want to do with the wonderful days that I have on Earth, and to not worry about what other people are doing, and just know that the decisions and the choices that I made, the places and people I chose to spend time with, are right for me. And even just comparing pictures, stalking people, which everybody Facebook stalks, and it's a waste of time, seriously. Just, like I said, focus on yourself, and that's the way you'll be happy, is figuring out who you are, not worrying about other people, especially given what I said. This person posting every single day on Facebook or Twitter or something could be completely unhappy, looking for approval, trying to get likes or retweets, and you would have no idea. You might just assume they're feeling wonderful and great, when in reality, inside they're not feeling so great, or they're looking for something that social media isn't providing for them, or that real life isn't providing for them through social media. Number 3, I feel like sometimes social media is a way to avoid talking or saying your real feelings. It's very easy for people. This kind of goes with the number 4 as well, which is anonymity. Avoiding talking. How many times have you been sitting at the gym or in a line and you've seen every single person on their phone just because they have to wait, they're trying to pass the time, when maybe your future husband or your future best friend or someone that you know from school and that you haven't seen in a long time, anybody, someone really important is standing next to you and you're on your phone playing a game. I'd rather, meet somebody that is really interesting and that I could talk to rather than staring at my phone. You get to know people, as I've been saying through this whole video, is through talking to them and to seeing their eyes light up with passion about something rather than kind of through what they're posting. So sometimes anonymity can be a great thing because it gets you to open up and reveal things that you weren't comfortable revealing. If you are in need of help or advice, that can be a great thing, but then anonymity, as you know, can lead to cyberbullying and just bad decisions that eventually might come back around to haunt you in the future. So, haunt you. So that's just something you can avoid if you start getting rid of social media, to be honest. Recognition. But it's better to get positive recognition for things that you're doing that are benefiting rather than negative recognition, which could affect, your chances at getting a job or something in the future. 5, not being on social media all the time kind of gives you that ooh la la intriguing factor. Like, what is he or she up to? I have no idea. I haven't talked to them in the longest time. Maybe I should give them a call or a text and we can meet up and talk about it. When you're on social media all the time, you're very accessible, and I feel like almost the attention that in some cases you want to get is not as satisfying as seeing someone at the grocery store and then they're like, what have you been up to? And you can really tell them from your own perspective how you felt about things that you've done. Social media doesn't always. Sometimes it can add to the intriguing factor. For example, my friend went skydiving and they had a video and the whole thing was filmed about her journey, but I saw that and I was like, oh, that's really cool. I definitely want to talk to her about that when I see her. So I did, and I learned more about the experience than one comment or one like on the video. So it can be a segue into greater topics, but I don't think it shouldn't be a substitute for, finding out what's going on with people. Number 6. When you're on social media all the time, it's more time consuming than you think it is. Like, I would wake up in the morning, check Twitter, Instagram, and I still sometimes do, but I'd rather now it not be the first thing that I do in the morning. It's a time when you wake up refreshed and ready for the day, and if you're going on social media and seeing negativity right in the morning, it's not a good way to start your mindset. I found that with that free time, I'm more interested in finding a new hobby. Find something I love. I feel like one of the great things about being alive and being a human on this earth is getting to decide what to do with your time. Number 7, self-acceptance. Listen, if you're going on social media, making these comparisons, it can be really hard to accept you for who you are when you're constantly seeing this person with perfect hair or a perfect dress or a perfect body, or they're traveling on beautiful vacations and you're stuck at home. It can be very hard to kind of accept yourself and your journey and what you're doing in your life. Accepting yourself is something that you have to come to terms with and you have to find on your own, and honestly, it's a little easier if you're not staring at other people. You can eventually get to a point, and this is what we should all be hoping to do. You can go on a site and you see someone having an incredible experience or looking great, and only spreading positivity, only seeing great, how wonderful for them, and not having it like cast a horrible egotistical reflection upon yourself about what you don't have. You know, maybe find a commonality between you two and get to talk about it, or just even be more grateful for what you have yourself. And that's hard, that takes time, that takes practice. It's something I'm still working on. There's not one person that hasn't struggled with that or thought about it once in their life. Number 8, I think. The concept of codependence versus interdependence and independence. The dependences. Speaking as from someone from my generation, I see a lot of people that are codependent on a friend, boyfriend, girlfriend, their parents. And I know I am still in some ways, and some of it's natural, especially when you're still developing yourself as a young adult. And then if you are, you know, posting everything or feeling that you should act a certain way because other people do, versus just going with your gut and what you feel is right for you, then that's not healthy. Part of finding yourself and accepting yourself is making decisions for yourself, and even if they're the wrong choices, when you look back, or even as you go throughout the situation, you're going to feel so much better for following your gut and going with your own choices, right or wrong, rather than somebody else's, because the fate is literally in your hands. If your interdependence is much more healthy, in my opinion. Inner meaning between. So between implies that there's shared feelings or opinions, mutual. It's benefiting both parties. When you can have a friendship like that, or any sort of relationship, it can change your life. What does social media have to do with this? If you're interdependent, you can still be involved and still be doing things with your friends, family members, etc., without being codependent and waking up and feeling the need to do something that may not be the best for you. Speaking from my own experience, I feel at times I'm so independent that I'll go off and spend this time by myself and then feel sad when really there's no need to. I could be spending time with other people, making new connections. I've always hated, it's a pet peeve of mine, is when people try to classify you in a singular box and say, okay, this is Gina, for example, and this is what she is, this is what she's about. I don't think there's any way you can say that, because people are dynamic, they're growing, they're changing every day. You can't define them by anything, it's just wrong. It's feeling people's energy and emotions and passions and connecting on a deeper level, in my opinion. Finally, number 9, I really don't miss any of the social media things that I've given up. Now, I found within the first 2 days of giving it up that I didn't feel like I was missing out on any. Snapchat, I mean, that was probably for the best anyway. No offense to the Snapchat creators, like, it's great, some things are really funny, but sometimes I just feel like it's a colossal waste of time. This is the Snapchat you send versus this is what you really mean, where, you know, like, say I have this pimple right here, and then people put the words right over it, and they're really just trying to hide a pimple and send a selfie Snapchat. Anyway, social media definitely has its ups and downs. I'm not saying it's completely negative, nor is it wrong to be involved in anything, as evidenced by the fact that I'm still involved with Facebook and YouTube, and I think it's important for our society to come up with a better way to change how we're utilizing it and use it for positive aspects and start to filter out the negative aspects. And if we can do that now, and going into 2015, I think we're going to have an awesome year, and that's what I'm hoping for. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If not, totally fine. I think it's food for thought to think about, and maybe try giving up a social network site, or, you know, not going on for a day and seeing what happens. It's just an interesting little experiment. Leave your thoughts and comments below. I will gladly read them.